Dear students, we all are aware of this uh, instrument. So what is the name of this instrument? The name of instrument is a tangent galvanometer. It is called as a tangent galvanometer. It is used to find the small amount of the current which is passing through the this coil, which is we are going to see in this diagram. So this instrument is consisting the coil of insulated copper wire wounded here it is there, copper wire wounded on a circular non-magnetic frame. It's working based on the principle of tangent law of magnetism. When the current is passed through the circular coil, which is we are observing in the diagram, this is a circular coil, and pass, passed through the circular coil, a magnetic field is produced at the center of the coil in the direction of perpendicular to the plane. So here, if the center is there, at this center the magnetic field is produces. So at this center, what is the magnetic field is going to be produces? We are going to observe from this compass box. This is called as a magnetic compass box. So through this one we are going to find the what the magnetic field is generated, and then how we are going to get that magnetic field at this point. And here this compass box is also consisting the one of the needle which is pivoted at the center of the dead box. So when the current is passed through the circular coil, in that time this needle is going to be deflected, and through that deflection with a making an angle theta, that theta, using that theta we are going to find the magnetic field. So for the finding of that magnetic field we are using the tangent law. So what is the tangent law here? If a small, let us will take one example, that is a bar magnet. This is the bar magnet. So this bar magnet is suspended between the two magnetic fields. One is a B here, another one is a BH. So here two mutually, these are the two mutual perpendicular magnetic fields, uniform, it is called as a uniform magnetic fields. And such that the when the bar magnet is suspended into these fields, the bar magnet is try to come to rest with making an angle theta along the that BH. So that is gives the a law of tangent, and then from this one we are deriving that equation using this right angle triangle, using the right angle triangle which is written as A, and here this is the N, and here this is the O will take. So from this one we are going to get the derivation, get the equation, that is the B equals to BH tan of theta. So what is the magnetic field you will get from this BH tan of theta? And now here, if we are applying the magnetic field perpendicular to each other, and then the force, the magnetic field is acting on at this point, and then this bar magnet is behaves like a, or sorry, it produces a torque at this point in this direction, it means in this direction. So another one end of the that bar magnet is moves in opposite direction, it means it gives the magnet is gives the anti-clockwise direction and a clockwise direction. It means when the torque is due to the B rises to the rotate the magnet in anti-clockwise direction, in that time what happened, the B is due to the clockwise direction. So in equilibrium torque, the BH equals to the torque due to B m BH into N, then finally you will get that equation, that is nothing but BH tan of theta. So it is the instrument used to measure, and then this galvanometer, tangent galvanometer, it is the instrument used to measure the very small amount of current or a very small current. It is a galvanometer which is fixed coil and moving magnets. It is based on the tangent law, so which is I have shown in the diagram. This is the tangent galvanometer. So, and now another one of the instrument is there, that is nothing but the Helmholtz galvanometer. So only the difference is there. The difference, we are using the two circular coils. These are the two circular coils. From these two circular coils, we are going to supply the current, and then that current is also same in the direction and same amount of the current. Through that one, we are finding the magnetic field at the center of the that coil. So what is that, how the that Helmholtz galvanometer is going to be made up of? It is consisting the two parallel coaxial C1 and C2. So this is the diagram. So, and basically we'll take here that we'll take free body diagram. So here this is the one of the circular coil, and this is the second circular coil. So here these circular coils are giving the name, that is a C1 and C2, which is having the radius, same radius, which is having the same radius. Whatever the radius is taken here, that is R. I am taking here R. So same radius of this coil is also having, and the number of the terms, whatever the here I have shown, the number of the terms is there for first coil and then second coil are the same. It means if you are going to take a 50 and if you are going to take the 50 for another one of the coil, and then distance between the two coils, the distance between the two coils is equal to the radius of each coil. So it means what the radius of the that coil is there, that much of the distance we are going to keep the data coils from each other. So therefore the coil are connected in a series so that the current through them is same in direction. So we are connecting these two coils in a series manner. So why? Because the current is flows in same direction through the that coil. At the midpoint, here at the midpoint, we are placing one of the magnetic compass box, which is called as a compass box. So here at the midpoint of this sphere, we have a situation where the magnetic field B1 due to one of the coil is decreases linearly with x. It means in the direction of x. If we move in the direction of x, then the B1 is decreases linearly, and while B2 due to the other coil is increases linearly with the x direction in the same rate. It means if while you doing the experiment of this Helmholtz galvanometer, will come to know how the deflection, if the B1 is decreases, then how the B2 is increases. So here one of the coil is increases, it means one of the coil of the current is increased, then the magnetic field is increased through the data, that the deviation, and in another one of the side of the coil is increases, so that is gives the B2. So therefore here B1 and B2 adds up to the produce the magnetic field, which is almost uniform in the region of the needle is pivoted in the compass box. It is called as a magnetic compass box, which is placed at the point of P. So here the P is a midway between the coils, and hence the magnetic field in which the deflection magnet is situated, that is uniform. So this magnetic field is there, that magnetic field is always, it is uniform. So here you will get a graphical representation. This is the graphical representation. So at this peak you will get a maximum magnetic field. At this peak you will get a maximum magnetic field for the B1 and B2 we have drawn. So here for the B1, once if you are taking the B1, and then you will get the decreasing of the that B2. So when the decreasing of the b1 is there, in that time you will get the increasing of the that b2. So therefore after the all the reading, we are going to draw a graphical representation using the that readings. We'll get the that graph like this. And now here another one of graph is there. So this graph already we have shown, where we have derived this, drawn this graph. A circular current carrying a coil carrying a current. In that time we draw this graph, and which is shows the, if we are moving the that point from the center of the axis of the circular coil, in that time the magnetic field is generated. At the midpoint the magnetic field is a maximum, at the x the magnetic field is a minimum. So if you are moving from this point to this point, it means you will get the maximum at the center of the that point. So that is x. So for that one we'll derive the this equation, that is the b equals to mu naught divided by 2 into I into n into r square divided by r square plus x square bracket raised to 3 by 2. This is the equation. This equation we have derived for a circular coil. So similarly here there are two circular coils are there. And then what will happen here, at the uniform magnetic field, the magnetic field is a constant. Uniform magnetic field, it means the magnetic field is a constant, and then for the small amount of current, the magnetic field at the distance of small amount of distance, the magnetic field is constant. So similarly another one of the cases, the d square b divided by d x square is equals to 0. These two conditions we are using, and then this is also work a principle of tangent galvanometer. So these are the two conditions. On this condition it is working. And now here whatever the magnetic field is there, that is varies with the varying the distance from the center to the at any point of the axis. So this is the explanation of that tangent Helmholtz galvanometer. And then whatever the that construction is there, that construction is explained here, and then I have explained already. And this graph is shown here also, and then here also. So now we will find the magnetic field of that coil is produced at the center. So here we will use the that equation which is taken from the circular current carrying a coil having the n number of the turns of the circular turns. It is called as a circular turns, and carrying the current I at the distance of x from the center of the coil. So that equation is derived, that is the b equals to mu naught divided by 2 into I into n into r square divided by r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. So here the rate is increase or decrease, whatever that magnetic field is there, that is increase or decrease of the magnetic field is given by the differentiating the b with respect to the x. Here b with respect to the x, what we'll do, so directly I have written here. Why? Because you very well in the mathematics, that's why I didn't going through that differentiation, that's why I have written directly here. And this dB divided by dx, so differentiation of dB with respect to dx is equals to this. Here these are the constant terms, mu divided by mu naught divided by 2, and then I n r square, and this r square is a constant. And then next, what is the differentiation here? We are moving, this is the coil, and then from this distance we are moving or away from the that coil, otherwise towards the coil. So what we will get here, you are differentiating, and the differentiation with respect to x is there, so which the term is consisting the x will take into the differentiation. So if you differentiate it, then what you will get, see here I have written 1 by x in terms of 1 x raised to 1 by x is written as x raised to minus of 1. So like that I have written here. And then next, if you differentiate it, then what you will get, x raised to n differentiation, you will get n into x raised to n minus 1. So if you differentiate it, then the term you will get, that is nothing but minus of 3 by 2 r square plus x square whole bracket raised to minus of 5 by 2 into this differentiation 2 of x, and then if you rearrange the terms, then you will get the equation, this equation, that is a dv by dx equals to the minus of 3x divided by 2 into bracket r square plus x square whole bracket raised to 5 by 2 into the constant terms, that is mu naught n I r square. So now this is the constant, for the that magnetic field which is generated by the increasing or a decreasing of the magnetic field. And now here again we are differentiating, making to the 0. So that is a d by dx or a d square b divided by dx square. So if you are differentiating, so which terms we should differentiate? See here, this term and then this term we should differentiate. So therefore what will do here, x into r square plus x square into minus of 5 by 2 will make, and will simplify like this. So if you differentiate it, it means you will get the u into phi rule. From this u into phi rule will come to know, that is r square plus x square raised to 5 by 2 into x is the differentiation of x, you will get 1 plus, so same as it is, we will get here minus of 5 by 2, r square plus x square raised to minus of 7 divided by 2 into 2 of x, so which is the x square is inside in the bracket that we have derived, we have multiplied, and this term is already present here, so that is multiplied. So therefore this is the final expression for the differentiation of this, it is called as a second differential equation. And now if you simplify it, then you will get the term r square plus x square is a r square plus x square raised to minus 5 by 2 and into bracket minus, 1 minus, so we'll take which is 1 minus, here minus is there, so therefore 1 minus, this is I have taken outside, so 1 minus 5x square, and this 2 get cancelled, so 5x square divided by r square plus x square, see here, this I have done as a simplification, minus 5 by 2, so therefore, and then you will get below that one equation. And now here if you take on the cross multiplication, then the equation becomes r square plus x square minus of 5x square, so whole divided by r square plus x square. And now here after simplification you will get r square as it is, and then this becomes minus 4x square divided by, see here, divided by, this is minus 5 by 2, and then this is 1 by 2, we should write now here, no, sorry. And then now here this becomes minus there, it goes denominator, and then next we will get the equation becomes r square minus of 4x square divided by r square plus x square whole bracket raised to 7 by 2 is equals to 0. And then if you took this term in the left side of the numerator as a multiply to this left side, then you will get the 0, the term becomes 0, and then the final term is r square minus of 4x square. So if you taken this 4x square as a left side, and then you will get the r square equals to 4x square and then next the x is equals to the r divided by 2 plus or minus r divided by 2 plus or minus, and we'll go to the that equation, that is a we have taken b equals to mu naught by 2 and I into n into r square divided by r square plus x square. At this term, in this term we'll put the that value x value, that is r divided by 2. So therefore the magnitude of the magnetic field is maximum in midway of the space between two current carrying coil. So here this term is maximum where this is the one coil and this is the one coil. At this point, see here, this is the r by 2 and this r by 2. At this point the magnetic field is maximum. So that magnetic field is maximum. We'll calculate that magnetic field. B equals to mu naught divided by 2 I into n into r square divided by r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. This is for a circular coil current carrying a conductor, and then instead of x we will put the r by 2. So therefore if you put the r by 2 in that x value, so therefore you will get mu naught I n r square divided by 2 into bracket r square plus r square divided by 4. You will get r square divided by 4, and now here raised to 3 by 2 is there. So we'll take r cube outside, sorry, r square, and then here if you take r square outside, then here it is having another one of the power, that is 3 by 2. So 2 to get cancelled. What remains here? The r cube which remains. So if you took r cube, then what remains? 1 plus 1 divided by 4 is remains. So if you calculated this term, and then what you will get? You will get a 5 by 4. You will get a 5 by 4, that is 5 by 4 raised to 3 by 2. So if you want to calculate as like this, you can get a same answer for this one also. And then now here what we'll do? Mu naught I n divided by 2r. You can write this r 5 raised to 3 by 2. You can write as like 5 root of 5 divided by 8 for 4. And then if you simplified this term, and then you will get 8 mu naught I into n divided by 2r 5 root of 5. So we'll calculate, we have calculated for only one circular ring for this one, and this magnetic field is add up. So total magnetic field is add up from the one circular coil and from the another one of the circular coil. So therefore this becomes the magnetic field is, total magnetic field is 2b. So therefore now we'll put this term, leave it, sorry, total magnetic field is equals to b dash equals to 2b. So we'll put the value of this one, and 2 to get cancelled, which is having this 2 and this 2 get cancelled. The term becomes mu naught I divided by n, sorry, mu naught I into n divided by r into bracket 5 by 4 raised to 3 by 2. So you can write like this, otherwise you can write like this. There is no problem. Why? Because directly we are calculating here. And then final expression you will get, that is b dash equals to 0.72 mu naught I n divided by r. Or you will get this term, that is 8 mu naught I n divided by 5 root of 5 into r. So this is the expression. From this expression you can find the magnetic field which is generated from these two circular coils at the midpoint. So this Helmholtz galvanometer we are using in laboratory to find the magnetic field which is generated by the two coils. So this is a one experiment is there in a second semester. will learn that experimentally in a lab. So and next I will give one assignment question, that is nothing but write the principle of Helmholtz galvanometer and construction working, and derive the expression of magnetic field of Helmholtz galvanometer.